And welcome back, everybody. Due to technical difficulties on my end, I think we're okay though. We are late, but so this week we're gonna do the talk about the thing that we were gonna talk about last time, but again, my technical difficulties stopped us because I suck. But we're gonna talk about co-op or sharing consoles. And like for me, this is a big deal because the Nintendo Switch is coming. The Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out, and we're only can afford one of them. I'm sure we can afford two, but that's a lot of money, you know. So anyway, first, like I like to start off with how was your week,
That was all
Cheeto?
right. Just, normal shenanigans with work, and that's
That's
it. I
it.
mean, that's all that I've really done. So,
Oh wait, it was end of the month
oh
for you,
yeah, I
right?
mean that went fine, I guess, but still, it was still utter nonsense.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. This week, I like right now I'm sitting like about a football field's away from the Capitol building, so like the U.S. Capitol building. So I can't really complain. Nothing really happened for me this week, other than yeah, nothing. Same.
Yeah.
Um, I worked on some videos that'll never get posted. But other than that, yeah. So let's get into the topic at hand.
Okay.
And if you're here live, and want to talk about your console wars or your console, like anytime you had to share a console with somebody, even if it was your brother or sister, let us know. Um, yeah. So, have you had to share a console with a spouse?
Spouse, not really. I mean, I was the primary gamer. My ex-wife was not really a gamer. But so I mean, she would play sometimes, but not much. With my ex-girlfriend, it was more, she kind of did what she wanted and stuff like that. So yeah.
But she didn't play a lot.
No, not a lot. No.
Like for me in the past, I've had. I think all of my boyfriends have played video games on some level. Because I guess because maybe it's a male dominated thing, right? Like boys when we grew up
Yeah.
were the ones that were supposed to play video games, and girls were supposed to. I don't know what we were supposed to do, but definitely
Hey,
wasn't
with
that.
Barbies.
Oh my Jesus! Yeah, you know, want to know what I did with my Barbies? I cut off all her hair and burned them,
Hey, I
except for the.
mean, like, I don't blame you there.
But yeah, and I always wanted to play with Legos and stuff, but again, that was boy toys when I was growing up. Shame.
The shame.
Yes. So, let's see. So let me talk about this. We're supposed to or I want to talk about like how we ended up sharing one console, and I'm going to go like all the way back when the Wii came out was when I was with my first boyfriend. And the Wii kind of like was like that elusive console, right? Nobody could get their hands on it. But
Yep.
because the people at GameStop loved me, I got my hands on one. And he didn't really play games. He just um he just wanted it because it made him look cool that he had one,
Oh.
which kind of pissed me off because like I'm trying to play Super Mario Galaxy or whatever, and like he would be mad that I was like playing it because it was like I don't know if he was afraid I was gonna break it or what. um but so
Boys are dumb.
yes, especially then because he was a boy, you know, he was 25 or whatever and I was 19 or 20. Hi
Yeah,
Jasmine, how are you?
yeah,
um
I had to share with my brother. So, like, I mean, we basically shared a console, the Sega, the N64, the PlayStation 1, and then by about the PlayStation 2, I was just about an adult and I was able to buy my own. So the PlayStation 2 was mine, but yeah, I had to share I had to share with him a lot. Like I more shared with my brother console wise than I did with like any of my spouses or girlfriends or anything like that.
Yeah, and that can almost be more tough, right? Because your brother, especially because he's your older brother, right?
No, younger.
Oh, he was younger. Okay, so maybe you were the asshole.
I am the asshole. I mean, that's
Like usually,
that's 100% true.
well, like usually when brothers and sisters have to share things, like the older one is usually like the asshole that like makes you always be Luigi. I'm so sorry, Reach. Or to Jamie, who was 11 years younger than me but still wanted to play, and um we put her as the NPC because she was 3 and couldn't like stay, so we always made her be Boo. Like I feel really bad about that as an adult, but at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, so when you were a kid, your family was the only one. Like, did you get like one console for Christmas or whatever?
Um, did I get one console for Christmas?
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
was like a
yeah,
family gift or whatever you guys do.
yeah. It would be like a family gift, but I mean, it would not be. We would just have to go. I don't know. We would have to do the whole, share, take turns, blah blah blah.
I see. So like for our Wii, we bought it. I always am a Nintendo person for my whole life. Like we established that last night. That's all I do or that's the main thing I do is Nintendo. I own stock in Nintendo. I think I have since I was about 20. Um,
It's a good
it's just,
company to get stock in if you get it low. Like
yeah. And their stocks are never really expensive either. Because right now I think they're only at $20 a share, so go get some. Um, but my point in saying this is that my ex, like I said, he bought the Wii. He didn't actually want anybody to play the Wii unless people were over, and then everybody was like, we were 20, or in our young 20s, so everybody would come over and play Wii games and sports, and I would get shitty because like they're spilling beer on my not Joy-Cons, my controllers, like that
yeah,
kind
no,
of
you don't want people messing your shit up. I mean, I get that for sure. I'd be mad too.
um let's see. As far as after that though, it like I learned my lesson for the most part is I'm just gonna buy my own shit. If I buy my own shit, and it's not a joint purchase, you can't have any say over it. I don't, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I'm not against sharing, but I'm not also like I also can just play it whenever I want to then.
Yep.
Um,
Agreed.
so it like since it was like he felt because he paid half for it, he was entitled for me not to play it. And I'm like, well, what the hell is the point of having a system? Let's see. The other time I had to share was with my second boyfriend. I've only had, including Chris, 4 boyfriends, which is kind of maybe a lot. I don't know, but my second boyfriend had a PlayStation 3. Is that what Skyrim came on first?
No idea. Never played Skyrim.
Um, and he had Skyrim, which I'd never seen because I mainly have my Nintendo DS. That was my favorite. That's still my favorite console. He wouldn't ever let me play Skyrim because I didn't know enough about the PlayStation to not accidentally oversave his game because I may or may not have done that. Which I can see you being shitty about that because when people play Skyrim, I don't know if you know this, they put hundreds if not thousands of hours, especially when it came out.
Oh yeah.
Into
I mean, I've heard. Yeah. As I said, I've never played Skyrim, but I
like I have
I know of it.
I have one character that I have 1,000 hours in it. And you could easily do that without realizing it because there's so much to do in that game.
Yep. Yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah, I never played game like the most time I ever put into any games was kind of like Final Fantasy 14 or like more recently, I mean, I've put a ton of time in like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but most of the games I played, you wouldn't get more than like 40 hours out of the,
Right. Like you played it all the way through, right?
yeah.
This Final Fantasy 14 is like a live thing, right? You play
Yeah,
with
it's a online one, so that's why I'm
people.
like, yeah, I put a lot of hours in that one, but that one's, online, like MMORPG. So
That makes sense. Um, so and then Rebirth just came out, and it's probably had the same. It's about the same game except for they added new stuff.
uh well, Final Fantasy 7, no, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I mean, yes, you're right, it's kind of the same, but it's more like, like they expanded everything. Like since they already
Oh.
had all the character models, most of the mechanics done,
Mm-hmm.
they like it, you can play about 50 hours in remake and pretty much do just about everything. In Rebirth, I put in over 150 hours.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like, is it open world? I know we're off
Pretty
topic,
it,
but
it's segmented open world. So like there are really big areas, but there's like kind of and then actually towards the end of the game it all kind of opens up. So you really don't have to, like, it is kind of open.
mm-hmm.
It's weird. You think it's like segmented open world for most of the game. Then it kind of opens up at the very end of the game and you're like, holy shit, this is all one big world.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Um, let's see. So I have a question that says, "What did we do when we were both off work and wanted the game at the same time?"
You
Uh,
plot.
we didn't. In two of my relationships, we didn't. In today's relationship with Squez, like we're like, okay, do you want to play Mario Party? Do you want to play Borderlands? Do you want to play, like, there's options now, which I never had before. Um, so I mean, and not always are we playing together. We obviously have our own consoles as far as the Switch One goes, and PlayStations. We have our own PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 5. He has a 4. Um, like, we can play. He has a PC. We can play our game, whatever games we want now, which is such a far cry from, you know, the other relationships.
Ha, Far Cry.
Uh, um, so we didn't really have any schedules or anything. I just try, like, in my past relationships, I tried to, like, not have or not play when he was home, which kind of sucked because you'd get to a point like I'm in a boss fight with uh whatever boss, and I can't finish because he's about to be home, and now I have to go to the last save point, which sometimes is not very close to the boss that you're at. And because it's the Wii or it's the previous gen, and you can't, it doesn't save like they do now, or like on the Nintendo Switch where you can just push the power button and it sleeps and you can pick it right back up.
Yeah, I mean, no, for me like with my girlfriend, it was more she worked in the evenings, so it gave me a chance to play, and then I would always try to be off the game by the time she got home. Like just out of respect for her time because she just got home from work. If we're going to spend time together, I'd rather be done and off of video games, because I basically have the entire, like, after work till about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock to myself. So my thing is like, okay, I'll do my gaming
Mm-hmm.
when, I'll do my gaming until, you're supposed to be about home. And then, and yeah, sometimes you do run into that where it's like, oh no, like you're in the middle of a boss fight and stuff like that. And so, but I always did try to keep it so that I made sure I was off by the time she got home, even with streaming. Like, like I try to stream like with my kids. And I know this isn't about a relationship, but with my kids, it's like I try to stream when the kids are either not at my house or in bed. That's why a lot of my streams are like later at like 9, 10 o'clock sometimes. Um, my or like, I never have my kids on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then every other weekend I don't have them. So it's like, so like you'll usually see me streaming on Wednesdays and Thursdays. You'll hardly see me streaming on like a Monday or a Tuesday. but that's kind of why I set it up with my streaming life, or with my thing. Like I do some recording for
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. Like I record certain games like Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff like that. I do that like after the kids go to bed on like a Monday or Tuesday, but I only have like an hour before I need to go to bed, or 2 hours. So that's kind of how I have my whole thing set up, is like, look, I don't have the kids Wednesday and Thursday. I'm free and clear. If I want to stream, I can stream. I try to stream at least one of those 2 days, Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what I have going on. And then the weekends I don't have the kids, I try to at least stream once or twice on those weekends, just to kind of keep, momentum going, and because I've got usually 3 projects going at one point, so but that's what the recording is for, is like I can record, like, record a part for Assassin's Creed Shadows, or for Jedi Survivor, or whatever, for like an hour, and then be done. Instead of streaming, where when I stream, I try to go at least for 2 to 3 hours at the least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that makes sense. And see, at least you try, like, and that's what matters. Like with Chris, it doesn't matter if I'm still gaming or whatever, because he's probably going to come home and do about the same thing. Or he plays some, like, he's been playing this Gundam thing on his iPad, and he plays that, or whatever. It's just really nice to go from the not being able to play to like we're both gamers. We both do whatever we want, however we want, whenever we want, and it's just really, it's a really nice thing. Yep. But I do agree. Like, I do think like we should like spend time with each other sometimes without games and without anything interfering, like going out on a date or something, because I do see that sometimes being an issue, is like we have something in between us, which is the game,
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that you do need to have time away from the game.
Yep, I agree.
I
try to teach my kids that too, but
it's really hard to be off devices and to be off. Like if you go on like I'm sitting on the metro, and about every single person is on their phone, and there's like 200 people on the car, except for one person's reading a book. Like, I get it. We're all like attached to our consoles or our phones or whatever device. I get it.
And everything keeps becoming more and more mobile, so it's easy.
Okay, now we're going to talk about rules of engagement and gaming. So this says we're gonna talk about how nerdy couples set ground rules or not for sharing consoles or playing games or whatever. Like I said, when I played like with my last ex, he would always just set the rules. We're doing this, and if you don't like to play this way, then sorry, don't play, which was kind of annoying. But like, yeah, and that was hard, because like I want to play with you. You like to play games. Let's play together. And there were games that we could play together, but my play style is like, I don't care if we win or lose. I just want to play. And that annoys people sometimes, which I totally understand. So, but like with Chris, if we're like, say, for instance, we were playing this one, I don't know what you call it in Borderlands, but we were playing Borderlands, and like waves and waves of bad guys keep coming at you. And so like what's nice is like we can say, hey, you're a siren, which I always play the magic person. I'm gonna stop these kind of guys, and you stop these kind of, like we kind of come up with like how we're gonna do stuff. And that's like to beat the level or beat the mob or whatever we're doing. And that feels so much better.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, there has been times where it was like I can't make any decisions. Eventually, like I said, my ex, he was basically like, no, we're doing it this way, and we're only playing this game, and like we played Total War a lot, which is a 1-player game, but we tried to make it a 2-player game, like by which decisions we'd make and stuff. And it got to a point where he didn't like some of the decisions I made, and because I am more lackadaisical and I am more left leaning, I guess, because that game is kind of about politics and what kind of decisions you make affects the rest of the game, and your people and how your army goes and all of that. But yeah, he would get royally mad at me because he's played this game for thousands of hours, and I'm just like, hey, let's see what happens if we do this. Which I get, again, I get how that can be annoying, but at the same time, yeah, it
Well, you got to be open to play with other people's. You know, you got to be open to like their point of views on a game. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you know, like that's kind of the name of the game is if you're trying to include somebody in something, you got to be able to include them in what you do. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a terrible 2-player game person. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, even like you know, like, it's not that I get competitive. It's not. I just I like my single player games. I like doing my own thing. Maybe if I had the right person to play with, maybe it would change. But I've never had that person. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I've never had that person who, you know, can team up with me and actually knows what the hell they're doing in a game. You know, rather than them just trying to do. And again, if games aren't your thing, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and judge anyone because, you know, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, like most of my major relationships, none of them were in my marriage. Like, they were gamers. Like, they, like, if you want to, like, that's my thing is like, if you want to read a book while I'm playing, by all means. If you want to, you know, do commentary, like, you know, be commentary on one of my games, by all means, because I'm sure that every video game has something that to the mundane outsider makes no sense and just seems silly.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and I don't mind that, you know. Now, if I had, but then, you know, if I have somebody over my shoulder, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should. That's when I would be like, okay, let me play. You know, like that. But I understand that about myself, and that's why I'm like not like, you know, and if we're approaching it as a team, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's somebody just sitting there, just like commentating, like on my play style, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
But
know. Go ahead.
I feel like if you want, I don't know, a bonding thing, like Squez, the one of the first things that I really realized I liked about him, and I've talked about this before, is that we got on a Discord call before we were dating, and he was playing Mario 3, which obviously is a 1-player game, but like any decision that could be made, he would ask me. Anytime like there was like boxes to jump, he would tell me to tell him when to stop. Like, I feel like to bond, you gotta try to include the other person. So was there like no bonding either while you were gaming and they were reading their book or whatever they were doing?
I mean, like, it's again, most of the people is just like they just didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, as
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know, with my ex-wife, she would basically just make fun of the stupidity of it, and I was okay with that because again, I know a lot of games, especially in the 2000s and the 90s, was just stupid. You know, like that. They're
Mm-hmm.
not like like not like idiotic or stupid to play, but just like the voice acting sometimes can be wonky, or you know, the music can just be awful, or you know, but like when you're sitting there going, oh, you really should have done that, oh, you really, oh, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, well, that you're not playing, I am. But if somebody wanted to make a suggestion like, hey, what about this, that's different.
Okay. Because I have done that before. Hey, what happens if you do this?
Yeah.
And in my experience, I get yelled at. So
Oh,
Not by Chris, but by my exes.
No, I wouldn't. If somebody makes it more of a like, hey, like a question rather than you should do this. That's
Yeah.
your approach is kind of, and as I said, that's why I completely acknowledge like I will be alone the rest of my life just because I'm like, like I kind of do my thing and I'm kind of just over, over it. So
That's very sad.
yeah, well,
So my next thing is that we like with Borderlands, it's a different kind of game. Like it's a co-op game rather than we're like fighting each other. We're playing to get the same quest or the same goal. And I feel like if you played that with someone, that might be more fun. You know what I mean? Because as long as I get a couple shots in and kill people, and same with him, and we get whatever the end goal is for the quest, like it feels a lot better, you
mm-hmm.
know. Because we're playing, we're achieving something together. Um, but there is sometimes, and like the other day is one of those times. Squez and I were playing Borderlands 2, and it was I can't remember his name, but it basically was like um it's like it was the Dungeons and Dragons Tiny Tina DLC. And there's this and it's just waves upon waves of monsters and you have to try to stick it out to the end. Well, we got we did it like we're on the hardest one and we did it like 40 times and by the end we were like yelling at each other because we were just so sick of it. So like we're not immune. We're not like I don't want to like ever say that we're this perfect couple because I swear to God we were gonna kill each other at the end of that.
I
So we
mean, but
had to
there's a difference between like yelling and wanting to kill each other funny and yelling and wanting to kill each other like Eminem and Rihanna style. You know what I mean? Like,
it was like borderline both. And I'm just like, you're being mean. And it was just like, part of it was we were tired. Part of it is that we've done this for like the 50th time. And then I'm like, I'm never playing with you again. Which we know that
oh,
when he gets home tonight, we're going to sit down and play this game. So it'll be fine. But so yeah, there have been times to follow on with our thing here that like that day we rage quit and both of us were just hated it and hated each other and felt like we were never going to play games again.
well, we all have those moments.
But I mean, and like, and at that time, like with Chris, again, it's different. Obviously, I know that we both said some things, and he knows that we were over it after 20 minutes of taking a break and walking away. You know,
I
um,
get
with
that,
my
Roger. I get that.
with my ex, I was like, he was like, literally after the one time I made a bad decision in his game, uh, literally never let me play it again with him.
Well,
Like
that's
I
sad.
was never allowed to make mistakes, and I'm like, it's a game. You're supposed to like make mistakes. You're supposed to mess up. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. What if it sometimes, especially in something like Total War, which is what he played a lot of, it could go good. It's a roll of a dice in that game, you know. Um, but yeah, so sometimes it could go good. Yeah, you're never over it, Chris says, but which is good. Just over it for that minute.
For the moment.
Yes, for the moment. And so, like, um, how do you manage it when one of you loves long hours of gaming? In your case, and this says RPGs. I put this in there because Chris loves RPGs, and those tend to be like he likes JRPGs, I should say, and those tend to be one player a lot. Um, and the other wants to do like casual gaming, because I'm more of a casual gamer. I play hundreds of hours, but like I don't care. I just want to play. Like I said before, I don't care if I win, if I lose, if it takes me 1,000 times, where other people would get shitty with me. I do sometimes like feel a little left out when he's playing those games for hours and hours and hours and hours, because I get bored of my game and I might want to join him, you know. But like in your case, you know, if you're like really like a brand new game comes out and you just want to sit down and grind through it for a weekend, were you able to do that?
In a relationship, no,
Yeah.
but I can't even do that today. Like even being completely single and like, I mean, I could probably sit down and do maybe 3 or 4 hours, maybe per day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it depends. Like when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, I did. That's probably the most I put into a game in a single single weekend in a long time. But still, it took me 9 months to beat that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I blew through the game in like 3 weeks. Like, I did play it a lot when it first came out, like that first weekend. But then after that, it's like it took me 9 months to literally beat that game.
Okay. And like when you were in a relationship, like it's Saturday morning and you both have off, were you just skipping gaming?
I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, it just depends on what we have going on. I would be like, hey, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play for a little bit. If we didn't have anything, I would check with her and be like, I was gonna play for a little bit. Do you have a problem with that? Like, did you have any other ideas you wanted to do? And 9 times out of 10, it would probably be a no. So I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna play for a little bit, and you just let me know if we need to go do something, or I would tell if it's streaming, I'd be like, I'm gonna go stream for a little bit, like, and I would always usually only go between 2 to 3 hours. That's kind of my baseline where when it comes to streaming. So normally I just try to communicate. That's the thing, and I try to stick to what I say. Like, so if I say, okay, I'm going to go play for about 2 or 3 hours, I try to stick to 2 or 3 hours. I don't like just, like all of a sudden it's like 2 to 3 hours and like, oh God, it's been 6 hours. I'm very cognizant of the time just because of the way I am. So it's like, and usually after about 2 or 3 hours, I'm done with the game for the day. Not total, but like I need to get up, I need to move. Even if I walk away for a couple hours and then like come back later that night and play again or something like that. Like, but I can't just sit for hours and hours and hours and hours and play.
Right. And see, for me, I have been guilty of that in other relationships. Like now it doesn't really matter because we're both gamers. But and like we're both, and when I say that, all of my partners have played games, but me and Squez, that's like our only pastime. Right? Um
Better than sports.
yeah, exactly. And the other guys would watch sports and stuff, and like I would try, but I'm not like, I hate it. Like I deep down hate it. Like I was told that I had to wear a jersey to go watch sports with my family once, and so I bought a Pokemon Spirit jersey and called it a day.
I actually, well, I don't know if I had this shirt when we worked together, but I have a sports shirt that is Star Trek based. It was a so whenever they do sports day, like we're your favorite team at work or whatever, I'll
Uh-huh.
put this shirt on, and it's called the Niners because
Uh-huh.
from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
So like I have that shirt, and I'm like, people are looking at it going, I don't know. Wait a minute, is that the 49ers? No, wait, no, it's baseball. It's not football. Wait a minute, like, and I love watching them figure it out, or trying to figure it out. And I'm like, no, it's a Star Trek thing. Like,
Exactly. This is the only sports thing I have. Like, and
mhm.
I have a random hockey jersey because there's tentacle on it. Like it has nothing to do with me actually liking hockey.
Has a tentacle on it, huh? What is it? The hentai hockeys?
Get out of here. It is the Seattle Kraken.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
I'm so glad there's no children around.
Children, go
Uh,
home and ask your mom what hentai is.
no! Jesus Christ.
Well, it could be worse. I could tell them to just go look on the internet.
They will anyway. You know kids nowadays. They know how to use it better than we do, and we
That's
invented it.
that's true. That's true.
Um, have you ever clashed over how much time is too much? I'm gonna say yes, but it's not necessarily about gaming, but sometimes gaming, because sometimes, like I said before, I want to spend time with the person that without a game, without a TV show, without a whatever. And like when Chris and I first moved in together, it was we had to learn that like yeah, we were always gaming outside, when I lived in Ohio still, because we had like that was the only thing we could do because it was a long distance relationship. Now that I'm here in DC with him, we have to like take a step back and say, hey, no game time on these nights, because he gets home from work at like 4:30. He usually takes a nap for like an hour, and then we eat dinner, and then it's basically time for him to go to bed. So it's like sometimes we need to just spend time with each other without anything there. So
And
like
I
we
mean,
we've
oh, go
tried
ahead.
to get on a schedule.
Yeah, that's kind of like always my thing is like, boundaries, and not boundaries between you two, but like boundaries between you and games, and like, like moderation. Like, as I said, I mean, if you want a game for 12 hours a day, that is your God-given right. But it's like, I feel like that's healthy? No. But do I feel like, I mean, if somebody wants to do it, go for it. I mean, I'm not gonna yuck your yum. But like I do believe in moderation. I do believe in communication, even with yourself, where it's just like, okay, I could sit here for 12 hours and play this game, but I probably shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it,
Um, and then here we are. Do we make our own characters or do we share anything? Like when we're playing one player games, it's usually him playing and I am just like helping him make decisions. Because some of the games that he likes to play, I suck at. Like I suck hardcore. And so it's just more fun for me to like tell him when to stop when he's jumping or whatever to get the box on Mario 3, to get the power up. Um, but like the in Borderlands, for instance, we he always plays the siren character because he likes the magic. That works best with his play style, but that also works best with my play style. And because he's a better gamer when it comes to like, I guess you call that a first person shooter kind of, because you're shooting things and it's in first person. I mean, there's more to it than that, but it's not like Call of Duty, I guess. But like, he's tried to play different characters. Now, from what I understand, we both could have been sirens, and I don't know why he tried to do that, but like, I guess it made it more fun. And I guess like he said he was getting better at other characters because I get you can play that game with anybody from anywhere in the world. So which we're gonna start playing with other people, I guess. Um. So yeah, he shared. He let me be the siren every like in Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. We're on our third play or on our second playthrough of Borderlands 2. Uh, we're playing through it 3 times because every time you play through it, you get better weapons and better, like you get to level up more. Um, so, but every time I've been the siren, and he doesn't say anything. Um, oh, he says he wanted to be different, which is good. Uh, but we like it's also nice that he's like, I recognize that she's not really great at this kind of game, so I'm gonna let her do the thing that she's good at, and I'll just try something else. I mean, it works.
that's a good boyfriend. He lets you do the thing, if that's what you want to do. Like, I mean, obviously, don't given every single time. But like if you both like the same thing and it's not pragmatic for you both to be the same thing in the game, then you know it's good to alternating, flip a coin, whatever. I mean, or just play as both and just suck. If it sucks to have two of the same character, but if you're having fun, just do it that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and that's kind of what I said. I said we need to get you a siren and level it up and see what happens. But I think it would might like the sirens are too good. Like when you get to a certain point, so I don't know if it would be boring then. I don't know exactly how that would work, but yeah, it's nice because he knows my limitations, and so he's like, I don't have those same limitations, so I'm just going to help her out. And again, I don't know that this would have ever worked with any of my exes. So, um, now this says, how do you handle it when multiple games come out around the same time and both of you want to play first? Chris and I haven't had that happen yet, to my knowledge.
and I've never had to deal with that problem. Truth be told, now I can say with my son that that I've had that issue, because a couple games came out. Spider-Man 2 came out recently, and I know it was last year, but I'm just talking about in recent
Right.
history. And Star Wars Outlaws, both were games that I did want to stream, but I wasn't going to get to them right away, and he
Mm-hmm.
kind of beat me to it. So it's like
Did he stream them?
he's streaming both of them right now, yeah.
Oh,
So, but at the same time, we've kind of split our channels. Like he's got his own YouTube channel now. We still do the same Twitch because it's just easier to have everything in one place.
yeah.
But like when I upload to YouTube, like his stuff goes on his channel now, my stuff goes on mine. Like he's completely separated from Milk Toast now. Like he doesn't.
Okay. So then
So
at least you can do Let's Plays on Milk Toast.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of what I was thinking, but at the same time, I was like, well, what if I wanted to play those upon release?
Yeah.
But I
And,
also had Assassin's Creed Shadows that came out. So I was like, okay, I'll play Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'll do my let's play of that, and then maybe I'll move on to like, Star Wars Outlaws or whatever. And there's nothing stopping us from playing at the same time because new games like that I don't stream, he does.
mm-hmm.
So it's almost like I could record and he could stream it, but it would just be a balancing act of who gets to play and blah 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 and like saved games and stuff like that. And I'm just like, whatevs.
Yeah. Like for Chris and I honestly, he plays a lot of retro games and he likes to sort of stay in the retro gaming sort of world. So I don't know that there would be a game out. Maybe Donkey Kong Bonanza because we both played a little bit of that when we went to the Nintendo Experience. Um, so maybe that game. Uh, yeah. So like that's the only game that I can foresee because I think it's only a one player game, as far as I know. That we might clash over, but like overall, he's playing games from 25 years ago that he couldn't play when he was a kid because there was too many games or he couldn't get them or whatever.
The struggle is real.
But for me, like the whole thing, like I will say I am worried about the Switch 2 because we're only getting one at Jump, and he's fine with that until we went to the Nintendo Experience and he played some of the games and he played with the Nintendo Switch 2 and he was like, crap, I really like this. And so I am worried a little bit about that, but overall I can play when he's at work.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to share. I don't have to always have it. But I do like if I'm going on the metro, we actually live in Sterling, Virginia, and so it's like an hour metro ride to like I'm at the Capitol building. It took me an hour to get here. I'm actually on the National Mall. I don't know if I should be saying this because my two viewers might come and kill me, but um like I like to take it on the train because for an hour I'm just sitting there. Like I don't like to be on my phone all the time. So like I like to be playing something, you know? So I don't know exactly, like he's going to get home from work and I'm going to be in DC doing whatever, and I really only need it for the train ride cuz once I'm here I'm at the natural history museums behind me. So I might be there. I might be out eating dinner with friends or whatever. I don't know how that's gonna work, to be honest, because it's such a cool thing, and like there's so many cool features that I know he's gonna want to try. So I'm a little bit.
Well, it's either you guys either set up a schedule or flip a coin, or the one who gets the most game time, the one who gets the most game time has to make dinner, or I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
there's numerous ways you can play it where it's like, okay, well, and there needs to be balance. I mean, I think you
yeah,
guys will work it out. I think that you guys are cognizant enough, and are, what's the word I'm looking for? Like not empathic, but like aware enough where you're like, okay, I played for 6 hours yesterday and he only got to play for 2, so I'm gonna kind of let him go on this for a while today, or vice versa. So
yeah. And it's not like I don't have a Switch One, and I actually have an OLED, and I have the first Switch that came out on day one. So it's not like I couldn't play that or he couldn't play his. Like it's not like we can't game ever again. We might not be able to play because some of the Switch 2 games are not backwards compatible, or how do I say that? They won't play on the Nintendo Switch 1.
yeah,
So like we would just have to fill our time with another game or with something else. But like so far it's been nice because we just play that, like we play a lot of co-op games, or like we play Mario Party, or like just silly fun games that they don't really matter. We're just having fun playing them. You
all
know?
games matter
Do they?
except for Mega Man. Nobody cares about Mega Man anymore.
Oh, hi Fluffy Dog. I don't know if Chris is still listening. I might not be able to be friends with you anymore.
I would love to see a good, like, new 3D Mega Man game. I think it'd be very interesting.
So one came out when Mario Party Deluxe, whatever the purple cartridge is, when that came out, that same day a 3D Mega Man came out. I don't remember what it is. I don't know why I know that, because my brain is stupid and autism, I guess. um,
Chris is still
yeah,
listening. Hashtag all games matter.
damn it. Um, so I don't know, but yeah, it was like 3D ish. It was weird looking because I'm used to him being flat, but um,
I think Mega Man is one of the not to tangent, but I think Mega Man is one of the most interesting concepts for a game. Like especially back in the '90s. Like I always thought that the concept was very, uh very interesting, and very good. You know what I mean?
hmm
Basically wearing the skin of your defeated enemies, to
yeah, it's really cool. It's almost like House of a Thousand Corpses cool. Just kidding. No, yeah, it's very cool, and like the more I get to learn about it, because to be honest, I didn't know that much about it till I started hanging out with him. I am not a Mega Man person. I didn't even know anything about it till like 2006 or 7. Um, because like I said, I'm a Nintendo girl, and those were on Nintendo, but like I wasn't before then. I was a kid, so I wasn't buying the games for myself. People that bought me games only bought me like the games that they knew, which were Mario and Pokemon and Tomb Raider and those kinds of games, you know. So, um, it's been a nice learning curve to learn all the Mega Man stuff. And as people uh, as people from his community that do a lot of those Mega Man games and retro games, they're like sending me links of different lore and stuff, which is kind of nice to be able to like, because those games don't always have a lot of dialogue, you know. So like, I'm like, why is Woodman, or what's that guy's name, Sawman, like just trying to kill you? Like, I like to know that stuff because again, autism, so I have to know. Not only do I have to know how to do this level, but I have to like really know why these things are trying to kill me. um and like, so people like help me and they send me lore, and it's been really nice to be able to bond over something that he likes. Yeah, so um we like that. He is more always going to be the Mega Man person. Overall, I suck at platformers.
I'm not great at platformers either. That's kind of why I'm like, I mean, there were some Mario platformers I really loved. I don't necessarily think I was good at them. I just liked them.
Hmm.
I really hit my stride with gaming when it was like the Ocarina of Time came out and Super Mario 64, and stuff like that. Like that's when I really hit my gaming stride.
Yeah, well, I'm a few years younger than you, so I had those too, and I loved them. I have ADHD, and all of the reading in like any of the Zelda games was just too much for me at that point.
Well, and
Um,
that's why I think a lot of like the original JRPGs didn't hit it with me like super well was because it like JRPGs, yeah, they're not platformers per se, but they're very flat. You know what I mean? Like they're very flat. And I think that's why like the Final Fantasies, originally the Final Fantasies and all that, like never really stood out to me as something I really wanted to do because like because they just looked flat. Now I
mhm.
can appreciate them nowadays, especially, the Final Fantasies and like the Chrono Triggers and,
Yeah,
and some of these other games that, but back then it was like it all looked flat. Then my mind was blown when like the Ocarina of Time came out and Mario 64 and all these games that I really love just kind of like blew my mind.
yeah, and like I loved Mario, and it's still mostly a platformer, and I still suck at it, but at least like I keep trying.
That's another reason why Sonic really never stood out to me. Like I like Sonic, I played Sonic, but I was never any good at it.
Um, I liked Sonic 2. I played Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, but then I didn't really have consoles that played them after that because, like, I had a Sega, and then the next thing it was on, I had a Dreamcast. I had Sonic Spin, Sonic 3D, whatever that one was, but it wasn't great. And also they were busy.
My big Sonic was a Sonic 3. I love Knuckles. I thought Knuckles was great.
Yes. Maybe I had that too. That's the one that you stuck on top of the Sonic cartridge, right?
Oh yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Okay. So I had that too, and I do love Knuckles. I think that was my
yeah.
first.
Sonic 2 was just when they introduced Tails, and it was another 10 levels of the same from Sonic 1. Just you had Tails at that
Yeah.
point. Sonic 3 is when they started to really start like experimenting with the
Hmm.
format. Like they brought Knuckles in, and you had Tails again, and it just they kind of really started actually playing with the lore. And about the Chaos Emerald. I mean, the Chaos Emeralds were in it before, but like they really started to play
Yeah,
with it at
we
that
didn't
point.
know, like, it was again, we didn't know anything about why Sonic is a hedgehog and why he's running around. We just know that he is. And so we finally got more information, which again I like. Um
All right, back on track. Tangent over.
yes. Uh I what's one game you didn't think you'd enjoy but ended up loving together? And I'm going to say Borderlands. I purchased Borderlands one time because for Borderlands 1, 2, and 3, and all of the little, there's like story games, which are just, they're not really games, they're just lore, sort of. Um, it was like $20. So I purchased that a long time ago because $20 is nothing for 3 full games, and then the stories and all the DLC, by the way. So I'm going back to Borderlands because I'm not a first person shooter person. I'm not a shooter person because I always miss. Not in real life. I can still shoot any of my guns, but in games, I for whatever reason I can't play Call of Duty. I suck at Fortnite. Like I'll still play them, but I know I'm not good at them.
Well, it's kind of like like people who play Guitar Hero. Like they're not they're. It's the opposite for you though. Like the people who play Guitar Hero are not good on guitar. Like you shoot a gun in real life and can really shoot a gun, but that doesn't mean you're good at first person shooters in games. You know what I mean? Like,
so I didn't necessarily think I was going to like it. I liked the idea of the story that went along with them because like in general, just because I am a gamer, I tend to read stuff even if it's about games that I don't play, just so like when you guys are having conversations about games in chat that I might not play, but I can still follow along, you know?
mm-hmm.
So I knew about Borderlands. I knew that it was like a different planet and it was a post apocalyptic sort of thing. I knew that stuff. But I was like, like the first time we played, I was terrified. I'm like, he's gonna know that I suck. He's not gonna play with me ever again. I never shoot anything. Like, what do I do? And I did suck the first few games, but like after or the first few times we played, but after that I was like sort of getting it. Like it's more forgiving than you think. So as long as you have it on the general area, you don't have to be like to kill something. It's not like Call of Duty where you have to be more precise. So like when other people like, hey, my boyfriend wants to play Borderlands with me, I always say do it because it's been a overall a wonderful experience for both of us. And you don't have to be great at the game mechanics. And as you upgrade your characters or level up your characters, and you use the skill tree, like it makes it easier and easier. So like it's a game that I didn't know that I would like until we actually played it.
I mean, for me, it was just like me and my ex kind of played. Like we didn't play together, obviously, but like she liked Final Fantasy X. She actually really enjoyed that
Uh-huh.
one, which I thought was weird because it's not one of my favorites. But I played it one day. I left her to grind. Like
Mm-hmm.
I left her in a place where she could just grind and fight. She literally did like 7 hours of grinding. Like
Whoa.
I know. I was like, I came back. I came back home, and I was like, well, I came back because my PlayStation was at her apartment, just
Uh-huh.
because I was there more than I was at my house.
Yeah.
And she was just like, she's like, yeah, I think I did it for like 7 hours. Like in Final Fantasy X, if you know how the sphere grid works, like she had like 80 levels worth of spheres on everybody. I was like, whoa.
Oh.
I was like, what happened? What did I miss? Like she had
Right.
a ton. I mean, I might be exaggerating on the 7 hours, but I know she had like 80 levels of like spheres. So I'm like, but she said she really enjoyed the game. So I always offered her to play it through on her own, like with me, but like her playing, and she never
Yeah.
really wanted to. But
I see.
for my ex-girlfriend, it was it's weird. We have this weird I have this weird relationship with Resident Evil. Like she loves Resident Evil, so she played like 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8. And like I was there because she was doing it for the channel and everything. Um and like I really got into the lore of all of it. I didn't care for the zombies and all that, the jump scares, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do that. But I really got into the lore, and I was like, wow, like there's actually some really interesting lore here in these games. So she really liked those ones. I also enjoyed watching her do the like Tomb Raider games.
Yeah.
she played all 3 of the newer Tomb Raider games, like the newer ones from Square Enix, and I enjoyed like I had played the second one, the one in the Himalayas or something like that, but but I've only played the second one. I watched her play the first and second and third one. Obviously for the channel, but so.
But at least like she was gaming and you were at least paying attention, which always seems to help. Like sometimes it's like I want to play this, but and I want, and you say you want to watch me, but if I feel like you're on your phone the whole time or not really paying attention, then it's like you said you wanted to watch so you could understand the story of this game, but you're not paying attention. So then I feel like I have to keep going back and explaining and stuff. And so sometimes it's nice when somebody actually focuses.
Yeah.
And it's like you did good at that.
I did all right. But that's my other problem is like I'm one of those that are like, if I see like basic things that somebody could be doing, like I'm like, I don't sit there and try to like tell them what to do, but I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you really should like dodge, or you really should, and because I know nobody wants to be told. I don't want to be told that.
Yeah.
So.
And see, for me, I don't ever dodge because, like, again, I grew up on Mario, which you needed 2 buttons for Mario ever, right? The jump button,
right?
And the D-pad.
Jump and run, I think, right? Those were the 2.
Yeah. So you're running and you're holding down B and you're jumping with A, with most Marios, and then the D-pad. So then when we're playing these games, and it's like, you have to have more than those 2 buttons. I'm like, I can't do it. My brain does not want to let me do that. So then there have been times in past relationships where they're like, you have to parry. And I'm like, I can't do it. And so they're yelling at me and I'm like, you play then. You freaking do this. And it's like Dark Souls or something. And I'm like, I am literally doing the best that I can with my Mario skills.
Yep.
Let's see. Has playing together strengthened our relationship? I mean, it's just another thing that has made us has had us given us something to bond over, So I don't know if it strengthens. I mean, we have like I said, last time we played Borderlands, we were like pissed off at the end, and it wasn't even at each other. It was just that we couldn't. This was really hard, and I'm not great. And there's spots on the map where they could just keep blowing us off, like pushing us off, so then we would die. And like that's how I died the last 2 times. It didn't have anything to do with my skill. It had everything to do with where I was standing. And I just remember him like we were arguing, but then afterwards, like, we came up with a plan for next time. We're talking, we're having conflict resolution. So, I mean, I could say that, it helped us. It made us stronger, because arguments are arguments no matter what they're about. And if we can come out of them, even if it's about gaming or whatever, it helps you in the future to know how to navigate through all of these things. So,
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it strengthens. What about for you? Do you have any situations that you can think about?
There's only one instance that I can think of, and it was mostly bad because I seriously think my girlfriend was sitting there trying to fight this boss in Resident Evil 7 for like 3 hours, and I was like, and she just kept going, and I had to walk away eventually because. Like I was just like I can't, like, and it's not because she sucks. It's just like it's a hard boss fight. I get it, but I'm like, for me it was like I had to walk away because I'm like, and if you watch the footage, I think you can see me where I just like I'm like fuck it, I'm out. Like I gotta walk away.
Yeah, it's hard to be bad on stream. Like whether you're playing or not, or whether you're sitting there with somebody and they're struggling. Like it's hard, or if you're just streaming by yourself, it's hard to be bad on stream and do a boss for like 3 hours because people in your chat tend to leave, they get bored, they get whatever. So like overall I get it. I definitely get that. um
Yeah, no, that was probably the strengthening thing. I mean, I mean, it was mostly just kind of like being there and being present. Like I did it, and it kind of it kind of built conversations. Like as I said with the Resident Evil thing, I got more into the lore, and honestly, Megan didn't really care anything about the lore. Like she was, but like she would ask me questions about something, but then I would know because I'm paying attention to the lore. You know what I mean? Like she'd be like, well, "Wait a minute, what is this?" And I said, "Oh, well, that's actually blah 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 blah." Like, and she's like, "How do you know that? You're not even playing." And I'm like, "Well, I pay attention. I actually watch videos based on Resident Evil lore and everything." As I said, the Resident Evil lore is very interesting. I don't like the games because it's just like I'm not into like scary jump scare zombie shoot 'em up games. I just don't do it.
right. And I think so. We have 4, 5, and 6, which I think are the ones that are multiplayer. And after this, after whatever wins on his channel for the community games, I think we're just gonna start playing like one day a week. We'll be on his stream playing these games, um, which will be fun. I like that stuff. Mostly, I still scream. I scream like a little girl. I'm not gonna lie, but I still love the. But like, I'm excited. Like, I think I'm gonna be as far as we talked. It could have all changed, but I'm gonna be more a part of his channel or like playing more games on his channel with him. So that's gonna be fun.
I think I well, and I go back to Mage and Scarlet. Friends of the channel. If you
Yes.
haven't checked them out, Major Rage TV, small plug. But and you've seen him. If you're on NerdTube, you've seen him. You've seen Major Rage plenty. But him and Scarlet play all their stream games together, and they do a really good job at just tag teaming it, and just
Absolutely.
brainstorming, and I do kind of want that with somebody. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
do want that with somebody. I just have to find out what that looks like for me, because I get it. I'm not the easiest person to play like tag team a game with. I can't just sit there and watch somebody play for like hours on end. I have to be doing something else as well. That's
Mhm.
kind of why I was, with the whole backseating boyfriend thing, and during like my ex-girlfriend's playthroughs and stuff. But again, she more felt like she was doing it for me rather than for herself.
Uh huh.
So that's why I was kind of like, well, if you don't want to do this, I'm not going to force you to do it. Like, what,
Right.
like I understand if you like video games and you want to play, great. I'm all for that. But then I don't want you to feel like, oh, I need to play video games in order to have something in common with him.
Right. And that makes sense. Um, let's see. Did you play any like co-op games with her, or maybe even Mario Party kind of games or stuff like that?
He wasn't really into any Mario games. She thought they were too kiddish.
Oh, little does she know.
Well, again, I mean,
It's just one of
she
those
wasn't
things. She
she
must
wasn't
not
a
have
gamer.
like she wasn't yeah, she wasn't a gamer.
Yeah.
Um, because people tell me that all the time. Isn't Mario for little kids? And it's like, yes, but also no. Like Mario is for everyone.
Like it depends on the experience you take out of it. Like, look, I just played Super Mario RPG. Like, I know that's not for everybody, but it's a Mario game and it's definitely entertaining. Uh,
And that one, like when they do the RPGs and the like Thousand Year Doors and the like, they're more snarky in those games
mhm.
compared to regular Mario. So they're maybe not for kids. Like we as being an older millennial, uh we are in this like time where like the older people, the Gen X and the boomers are like video games are for kids. And then the younger Gen Z people are like, I'm sorry if you hear that. Something's happening. But the younger Gen Z people are like, uh, that's all they do is play video games. But we're stuck in the middle of like, are video games for kids? And all of my parents and all of my people older than me tell me that a lot. So they get lost on Pokemon. Really, yes, there's cute characters, but there's a lot of reading in those games, and
Mm-hmm.
like little kids can't. Well, they can play them, but if they don't know what's going on, you know, it makes it harder. So not all of these games, just because they have Pikachu on the cover, like Detective Pikachu, somebody that wasn't a strong reader couldn't do that game because it's 100% reading.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're outside of that, then you don't know that games are not for kids.
And I
Like,
mean, you're right though. I mean, like because we are our generation. Well, at least my generation. You're only 4 years younger than me, so like 4 or 5 years younger than me, right? So you're also kind of, even though it's not the same generation. Well, no, you're a millennial, so I guess we are the same generation. Anyway, we're kind of in that spot where it's like, yeah, it's like older people basically sit there and say, "Oh, video games are for little kids." You know, they even said that back when we were little kids. You know what I mean? And like where we all grew up and we're like, no, we kind of enjoy video games still. Like, video games are meant for everybody. Like
everyone. And also they weren't so much for kids when I was playing Silent Hill and then you saw what the story was about and you were pissed. Like like I wish you would pick one.
yeah.
But anyway, Chris and I play a lot of co-op games because he in his mind he'd rather like achieve something with me than like he's better faster on the controllers because he's played all those platformer games, and I just, again, it's not that I don't try, it's just I just enjoy playing the game. I don't care if I lose, I don't care if I win, I just want to play. Which I do notice he would never tell you, but he gets frustrated with sometimes, and that has been with my whole life. Like, I'm just happy to be playing this card game. Yeah, I want to play, or yeah, I'm playing this card game, and yes, I could have won last turn, but like my cousin over here hasn't won at all this time, so I'm just gonna let her play, and then it continues. It makes the playtime longer. But that
Yeah.
drives people crazy, and I know that it drives him crazy sometimes because I'm just lackadaisical in my playing. So we tend to play games that like Borderlands, where at least if I get a few shots in, it still matters, but like I can play my lackadaisical ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um so let's see, what made us laugh the hardest? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for that one.
Mario, okay, so Mario Party has some of these games, some of the mini games are just so stupid.
I think they
And
do that on purpose, though. I think they purposely put stupid games in there so they're like people will just laugh at it.
yes, and so there was a mini game where you have to, like, for 30 seconds you're fighting to get into the frame for the photographer to take a picture. We laugh till we cry every time that one comes on.
But I think
Like,
that's the point. Some of them are just so stupid they want people to laugh at them together at the expense of the game. You know what I mean?
yes, and so we're like punching each other and knocking each other out of the way, and then finally it gets to the end and you think you're gonna win because you're right dead center, and there's only 1 second left, but at the very like last half a second somebody knocked you out. And so like we laugh until we cry at that one every single time we play it. It doesn't matter if we're on our third round of Mario Party, it's just so funny. um and I'm laughing now because it's just great. um there's not a game we play together that really makes us rage. Like I said, like when we were playing Donkey Kong on his stream a few weeks ago, I'm not great at platformers. So Donkey Kong, once I die, he can bring me back. But like, say if I was the lead character and I die, it just goes to him if he's still alive. And there are some times where I could see him want to be mad, but like since he can just carry me through that game, he doesn't really rage. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
That's good. I mean, like, everybody gets frustrated with games. Like, I get frustrated at some games sometimes, where I'm just like, if I have to fight a boss more than two or three times, I'm over it. Like, at that point, like,
Yeah.
I don't get like all like, like, I don't get like, oh, I'm all focused and I'm gonna figure this out now. I'm in it to win it. Like, I'm more like, man, fuck this.
Right.
Like, that's why I'm just like, I could be doing something else. And I don't mind a challenging boss fight, but it's like, if it's one of those boss fights that are like, you have to like luck into a win, that's when I get frustrated. I'm like, no,
Right. And like like I said, the main time that we rage is like over Borderlands, and that's just because we've done this one thing 500 times, and like you get to a point where you're over it, right? Like you said, like, and we keep trying instead of just being done sometimes, and I think that's what is not great.
yeah, I don't think you should ever be frustrated with not being able to beat a boss the first time. But if you figure the mechanic out of the boss and you're like, but all of a sudden they just like they break their mechanic to do something else and they kill you in one shot. It's just like I've had that in games, like Chrono Trigger has that in one or two boss fights, where it's like, I'll be sitting there, I'll be in the zone, and I'll be like, all right, I figured out the mechanic, I figured out the gimmick, I know what I'm doing, and then like all of a sudden they just like they'll switch the gimmick up, and I'm like, motherfucker,
Exactly. And like that happens like in it's not a boss fight, but it's just like they give you like 6 waves of monsters, and they're all different monsters. And I say monsters because there are humans and there are monsters. It's just easier.
Humans really are monsters. Let's be real.
Yes. So there are monsters in this, and like for the first 3 times of playing this level, like first off, you don't know what you're going to be up against. Second off, they come out like, okay, first there's going to be these kinds of monsters, and second are these kind of monsters, and third are these kind of monsters. So by the third time, you're like, I understand what's going to come, and when this dragon is going to land, or whatever the thing is. And then you get to the 4th time, and then it's you are fighting monsters that you haven't even seen yet. And that was this thing that we were trying to do, and like it's just hard. There's these mages or arcanes or some kind of magical guys that like can kill you in one shot. And if you've already died a lot, you're just gonna just die. You can't. There's no way to, like in Borderlands, if you are downed, you have time to kill something to revive yourself. Well, sometimes you don't have any time. It just kills you, and it sucks. And like, yeah, so we didn't get, like, we finally get it, and like, yeah, that was just like overall a bad day because we thought we had it, and this time we got all the way to the 5th. I think there were 6 waves, but the waves like were 15 minutes each, and just harder and harder and harder, and bigger guys and magical guys and like elemental stuff, and it just got harder and harder. We finally made it to the second to the last one, and then they changed what the last one was, so we had no idea what to do, and that's why we raged, I think. Because we did it too many times.
Yeah, and as I said, there are just times we just need to walk away, like for a minute, like walk away for a minute, walk away for an hour, decompress. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, when I do that, I come back and I win it first time. Like, I'm not even lying.
That's us too, because we've done this. We were playing, the one level is the one DLC or one boss is, his name is Terramorphous, and we played that for like 3 hours one day and sucked. Then we came back like a week later, and I was like, I'm just gonna stand here and I think it'll work, and it did, and then we beat it that first time. And I'm like almost mad, because I'm like, I wasted 3 hours. Why couldn't I do this last week?
Yeah.
Let's see. Romance in game and IRL. Have you ever role played romantic relationships in game? Like, And so did you do this ever? Did your girlfriend know about it?
Not really. I mean, not with any of the games she played, and like I don't play Skyrim, Mass Effect, or Baldur's Gate 3, which are your examples.
There are other ones. I just figured those are the most
I mean, like there's a little bit of romance in Assassin's Creed, so I mean, I've done a little bit of that, but not like it's not like hardcore relationship stuff. It's like,
do, do you think like in Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate even, you can like get pretty far in romantic relationships? Do you think your exes would have been like perturbed by that?
I think they would have thought it was weird.
Yeah. So
Which
just
honestly, for me, it's like I don't think it's weird. I just am like I don't need it in a game. You know, I get having like a relationship, but like I don't need to see like that those intimate parts of the relate. You can imply the intimacy in the relationships, but like I don't need to see it. I don't need to make the choices. I don't need like, you know, like that's like for me it's more like I'm like, "Oh, these two are together." Cool. Okay. You know, and you can imply all the intimacy and all those things you want, but I don't need that. It doesn't do anything for me.
so
Like
apparently in Baldur's Gate 3, I haven't like let the relationships get this far because like I played one game which was one of those games I streamed. I can't think of them right now, but there was like a sex scene, and like I didn't know it was gonna happen, and I was streaming it, and you know that I'm not that person, so I'm like freaking out on stream like that this is happening. I remember Chris being on my stream and like laughing at me, but like I don't I in that situation it's part of like you you can't stop it from happening, you know.
yeah.
But if you played something like World of Warcraft where you can like keep having, you know, sexual relationships with monsters or creatures or whatever, like, and you're doing it to like use it as a form of like pornography, that's different, right? Like, and I think I would be upset about that. Or like if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, you can see them naked, so like I don't know how I'd feel if I'd walk in and Chris is like madly in love, or like his character is madly in love and they're doing weird stuff. I don't know, because I'm different in that way because I am a prude.
But again, like I just different strokes, different folks. Like I mean, as I said, for me, that's me. I'm like, I fine. They're in a relationship. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. You want you those two are in a relationship. But as I said, when it comes to like that intimacy part, it's like I don't need to role play like a character so much that I am in that scenario with them. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I don't need that. Like I when I think of like a role playing game, like an actual like a JRPG or an RPG, it's more like I am along the ride for this certain character, but I don't have to become this character. I hate silent protagonists in video games because I'm like, no, I want to know what the game developer or the game writer wants this character, this protagonist to tell
Uh-huh.
me. Because I am not this protagonist. I am watching a story. I am not becoming the character. And that's why I hate silent protagonists in games.
Uh-huh. And that's basically all the games I have listed, like especially in like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate, you know, you can't you they try to make it be you're the character.
Yeah,
And
and I
so
don't like that at all.
for me, like in Baldur's Gate, like I could tell where this was leading. And as you get nicer and nicer with these characters, like it leads to weird places. And it's like I'm sitting in here because I'm never going to be the girl that watches porn with her boyfriend. Like that's never going to be me. Sorry.
That's not going to be me either. I mean, like I'm
Um,
not.
so like I see where this is going in Baldur's Gate when we were playing it, and I'm like, I don't want. A, I don't. This isn't necessary, but for the story. But B, like, I don't want to watch them do their thing with him next to me. Like, I'm already mortified. Like,
And I mean, look, if people are into that, that's fine. But
I
that just it does nothing for me. Like I only draw the line where it's like, you know, like grape and I already said it, so it doesn't matter. But like
all banned from all the channels.
like underage type stuff. You know what I mean? Like where like in games like where you like if you have a 15, like even if it's like two 15-year-olds, like and they're implying that there's relationships going on. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like I'm like if people want to play games where there's like these crazy sex scenes in them and stuff like that, like fine. As long as they're not promoting any of those other two things, I'm like fine. But I'm like, I'm not gonna. If I know it's in there, I'm probably not gonna play the game, or I'm gonna try to avoid that at all costs. You know what I
And
mean?
yes, absolutely. So I just think it like I could tell my character was getting really friendly because in Baldur's Gate 3, whoever the first player is like the main protagonist. Uh, and I could tell my character was getting extra chummy. And I'm like, ugh, I'm done. Like, I know you have to talk to them to further the storyline, but the more you do that, the more they're happy with you. And I don't want that. It's just weird and all of the things. Um, so yeah, we have a few more questions left? I know you got to go. Have you ever?
Also, Ava Jordan, we are reading the chat. Just we're trying to wrap up here in a minute. So we do read the chat, but you kind of caught us here at the tail end. So we appreciate you being here. But
Absolutely. Have you ever created characters based on yourselves as a couple? For me, Sims, but like we're not a couple. I'm just like it's fun and create a sim to try to create Sims that look like real people, right?
I mean, we've created avatars for the channel for me and my girlfriend. Obviously back with my ex-wife, that was over 12 years ago, so I wasn't like streaming. So I mean, like that we didn't do any of that, but like I did have avatars of her created for like her content on the channel. And I would obviously use us together on thumbnails and stuff like that for like different things. But I mean, yeah, no, I wouldn't say that we have like avatars together. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. What games do you think reflect your relationship dynamic? Like even if you didn't play with her, what games or an ex, like is there any games that like reminded you of them?
not really. You know what? Maybe Uncharted. The Nathan Drake and I can't remember the blonde girl's name.
I know exactly. I haven't played those games for a while, and if you don't use it, you lose it. But yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I mean that relationship always seemed very like us, like very not contentious in the beginning being the point, but like after they were together, like they were just very real with each other. They were just very like like not spatty, but like like they just had a really good like bang 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 chemistry.
Yeah, and well, that's kind of cool. And like it's kind of cool to find yourselves in games like when it's like appropriate, not like the sex stuff. But it's kind of cool to like, hey, this character reminds me of my significant other, right? Because then it feels like even if it's a one player game, they're with you at least on some level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um. So yeah. Have you ever accidentally deleted anybody's save file?
I would not really. I don't think so, but
I have a Mega Man based witty centered around only the female robot master. You do? I have never seen that, so that must be new. Or he just never told me.
Or it's a surprise. Surprise!
Guys! Have you had any like petty fights over your console?
No. Not incredibly. Like the only ones it would be is like my brother, like when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And that would just be for time, like nothing crazy.
Right. We haven't really either, and again, that's because we're adults now, and we both have our own Switches. We both have our own. Like, I have a Steam Deck if I'm not playing my Switch, or if he wants to play the Switch too, I have a Steam Deck. I have two original or an OLED Switch. I have a PlayStation 5. Like, there is like I'll be fine while he's playing it. I promise. um, what game has caused the most conflict or brought you closer? There's two more questions.
I don't even know at this point. I mean, like with my ex-wife, I don't know, with my ex-girlfriend. As I said, the Resident Evil one was kind of like it was hard. Like, and as I said, I think it was more contentious just because like I was trying not to be like lose my cool because this was kind of frustrating to watch, but at the same time I knew she was trying. It's like I think honestly like
Yeah,
she just needed to walk away from the game for a little bit and then come back to it, but she wouldn't. I think that was the most frustrating part, you know what
I
I mean?
see. For us, the most conflict for Chris and I, we'll just stay with that one. It's the main one that we've been playing. The main series we've been playing is Borderlands. Chris is not a guy
He's
like he's a
not.
lot. Well, you didn't let me finish. He's a lot like you. He's not a guy who gets super pissed off about things, you know. So like, even though he is frustrated, it's not to say he doesn't get frustrated, but even though he is frustrated, he's not like super like he just either walks away or we quit
Yeah, I
before we
mean
get.
he manages it well. Everybody gets frustrated. You just got to
Yes.
manage it.
Um, but I would say overall gaming together has brought us closer. Um, being the Switch is like we're both mostly Nintendo people. I mean, we have other consoles, but being that the Switch has a lot of co-op games on it, or at least games we can play together, whether they're co-op or not. Um, it's kind of nice. Like, there's not really conflict because we can share the device, lots of times. So, or we can play like Borderlands. He can either play on my console with his screen name, or we can play together on separate consoles, which that's what we kind of like to do because split screen sucks. Um,
Yeah, I'm not a split screen person either.
and then, have you ever bought a second console to save the relationship?
No, never had to. As I said, I mean, with my brother, it was more like, it just became a point where it's like I just started buying my own consoles.
Mhm.
And with my ex, it's actually really funny. So, not that I'm trying to draw this out, but like, uh, during my divorce, my ex-wife really wanted the PS3, and that was just because she wanted to play Blu-rays on it. She didn't want it for the gaming.
A
Like
DVD
literally, she
player at
would
that
not.
time even was like $50.
Yeah, and I mean, she literally would not let me take the PS3 when we split
Oh,
because she wanted to
Jesus.
play DVDs on it. So I bought a new PS3, and the funny thing is that she bought me that PS3. Like she bought me that
Took
PS3.
a gift back. You can't, like, that's kind of shitty.
I I never said that she was that great of a person. Anyway,
Anyway, yes. You can't take gifts back. My last ex tried to do that. He was like, uh, tried to take we bought the PlayStation, or he bought the PlayStation 5 for me for my birthday. That we finally got one, and it was a birthday present. And he tried to say that I stole it, and I'm like, I didn't steal anything. Like, I have a text message from you that says happy birthday, and there's a picture of a PS5. Like, you can't take it back from me. That same ex, I had the Nintendo Switch, and he wanted to play it too, so he did buy his own. Chris already had his own because he's an actual like gamer. Um, and let's see. Did you play like? Did you ever play games at the same time? But they were like like, for me, Chris plays on his Switch, and I play a different game on my Switch. Do you play in the same room? Do you go in separate rooms?
no, never really had that. As I said, Yeah, no, we never. I mean, the only thing would be with maybe my son, but he'll take, like, if I'm playing on like the PS5 or the PS4, he'll take, and he wants to play, he'll take the Switch in the other room. So that's about it. Like, that's about the
Yeah,
only co-playing that goes on anymore, at
yeah,
least.
we
I
do
mean,
that. We'd play in my like we'll play in the same room if we're playing like if he's not doing a computer game and we're just playing on our switches independently. But I will say I kind of hog the TV, but I don't think he minds because I think he likes playing in handheld mode more.
I think he likes you. That's why he doesn't mind.
No take backs. And then last question. What do you think the ultimate co-op couple game is that you can play?
I have no idea.
We like I said, I like Borderlands for this because um like it's faster pace. You can get through the quests. You can one person doesn't really have to be great, or they can like raise their skill levels as they're playing it. um Something like Baldur's Gate, like it's more about the lore and the stories, so you're not fighting a lot, you're not doing a lot of things, and so if one person is not about that, it's not great. And in
It's also
fact,
about screwing a bear.
yeah, or whatever, vampires. A vampire
I
tried
don't know.
to
I've never played. I just know there was a big controversy about it when it first came out, about something about having sex with a bear or something.
Well, he's not a bear. He's actually he was a mage that can turn into a bear.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was a person, but I don't really know if like I never like I don't force. I tried not to have those relationships happen, so I have no idea actually. Um, but yeah, so something like Borderlands, something like Super Mario Wonder, where one person can be mediocre and still have fun because the end goal for gaming anyway is just to have fun. It does, you know. So any games like that, I would say. Um,
Okay.
so yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming to our stream. Sorry we started late and had some technical difficulties, but we're here. We did it. I'm about to walk to the botanical gardens, which I can see the roof of, and see pretty things. Cheeto's gonna get that god awful long ass haircut.
Dude, it,
Just kidding. Just kidding. But thank you guys for coming in. EBW, Chris, Fluffy Dog. Well, I don't know who else I saw, but thank you guys so much for coming in. Oh, Split Fiction is gonna probably be fun. It's like It Takes Two. It's made by It Takes Two, and Chris is right about that. So that might be fun. Because it's a co-op game. Uh, and that we played that when we got to do the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. Um, but yeah, anybody that came, thank you. If you're not following me on all of my socials, it's just type in Google Winslow's Only Hope. It comes up. All of them come up, and you can just go down the list. Cheeto is Milk Toast Gaming on all of his stuff. Plus, we do a lot of things like on NerdTube. We were together. We were all together, all the NerdTube people, on YouTube last night, talking about the things that are happening 100 yards away from me in Capitol Hill, plus talking about video games, plus talking about wrestling, and that's a lot of fun. So you guys should join us. That's Friday nights. It's been about twice a month, depending. So keep an eye out for that stuff. And then there's always stuff going on NerdTube, YouTube. So make sure you watch that. We like to talk about movies and shows, and usually they have a nerd event. Yeah, is there anything else you want
nope.
to
I
say?
think that's it. Follow everybody. We like to share the wealth.
Absolutely. So okay. Thank you guys again. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm about to go see some pretty